With EXO's upcoming comeback very noticeably missing 3 of the group's core members, speculations are once again spreading online about EXO's real relationship with each other and what happened to push them apart. Back when EXO first debuted in 2012, their scale and concept felt almost unreal at the time, with a 12-member structure split into Korean and Chinese teams, a sci-fi universe, and choreography skills that cemented them as one of K-pop's most ambitious projects. Over the years, they survived member departures, military enlistments, and the ever-changing K-pop industry. To many fans, EXO became the definition of a group that could endure anything, especially during their peak years in the 2010s. Yet, even with that legacy, the public has long sensed a lingering tension beneath the polished surface, which has only become more unmistakable as the years have gone by. Now, with lawsuits, contract disputes, and increasingly difficult communication between the members, it seemed like the group's reality started to morph into something entirely new in front of everyone's eyes. Older fans often say that the idea of EXO members not being as close as they seemed has always been part of the group's image. Back in the early days, when the lineup still included all of its Chinese members, Chris, Luhan, and Tao, people speculated endlessly about the dynamic between the Korean and Chinese units, including the different working conditions and the cultural gaps. However, it wasn't just the cultural differences that had fans speculating, it was actually all of the members' dynamics with each other. Since the start, some netizens have pointed out that the group didn't always have the perfect atmosphere, and some moments felt distant, some interactions felt a little too formal. It was especially at the start of their EXO Showtime show that some fans criticized the fact that the show seemed very scripted and was even at times boring, as the members rarely seemed to genuinely engage with each other. However, even with the group becoming more confident and familiar with each other further into their careers, it still seemed like they weren't too big on showing a public display of affection amongst each other, which is why many fans might believe that the members weren't particularly close. There was even sometimes an underlying sense that the team was made up of individuals managing one big machine together rather than being a single family unit. However, as some fans have pointed out, all members have quite strong personalities, and it wouldn't be too much of a shock if they really didn't always get along. And it's also important to note that it's in no way a requirement to act like you're a family, and that at the end of the day, EXO doing their job and being professional is actually the most important thing. Not to say that the group didn't do their best to be seen as a united front that truly did care for each other and their careers. And despite those early cracks, fans held on to hope that time would naturally bridge the gaps, and that maybe even military service would eventually bring everyone back into alignment. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into some of K-pop's most talked about moments, and don't forget to leave your opinion on the situation in the comments down below. But the truth is that things did not simply stabilize with age. As some members returned from enlistment and the promise of a new EXO era began to form, the group stepped directly into one of the most complicated internal conflicts they had ever faced. The contract dispute in 2023 between the subunit CBX, consisting of Chen, Baekhyun, and Xiumin, and SM Entertainment shook the group's foundation in a way that felt different from past controversies, largely because it unfolded so publicly and so messily. Things were especially difficult for fans as the matter wasn't just a quick incident, but an extremely intense court case that took several years of bitter negotiation involving accusations of lack of transparency and excessively long contracts, with a company that many fans already knew was among the harshest in the industry. CBX's attempt to terminate their exclusive contracts with SM set off a chain reaction as SM countered by accusing the trio of tampering, implying they had been communicating with outside agencies before their contracts had expired. Thankfully, things did eventually settle as fans got some temporary relief when CBX was allowed to continue participating in EXO group activities even while being managed from elsewhere. However, things didn't stay peaceful, especially as people wondered what the atmosphere must feel like behind the scenes, especially between CBX, who were fighting to leave the company, and the remaining members who chose to stay out of the case. Many fans even started wondering how trust could be rebuilt after so much public fallout, and whether the group could ever return to the sense of unity they always tried to project, even if they weren't the most affectionate group to start with. Then the situation escalated again as CBX's new agency, INB 100, was accused of ongoing interference. 100's chairman criticized how SM had handled revenue distribution, and SM responded with sharp statements claiming CBX's lawsuits had damaged EXO and even deeply hurt all the members. Suddenly, it sounded like there was actual conflict between the members, and not just because of the legal divide. And it seemed like these tensions could have had real consequences as a planned full group comeback for late 2023 was suddenly shelved, even though CBX insisted they were ready to participate and that they had cleared their schedules for the project, which never seemed to happen. Fans who had waited years for a true reunion were left watching members promote separately, simply smile professionally in live streams, or avoid public interaction entirely while everything was going down. The group's anniversary live stream earlier this year career also became almost symbolic of how broken things seemed to be, as only Suho, Kai, Dio, and Chaeyeol appeared, while CBX's absence hung heavy in the air. Then Baekhyun's message saying he wished he had been told about the event sparked even more confusion and speculation, as it seemed like there was almost no behind-the-scenes communication happening amongst the members. Seeing this go down, many netizens speculated whether it was just a simple miscommunication issue or if someone deliberately hesitated in inviting all the members. Some fan theories are even speculating that the reason why CBX is perhaps purposefully being held back from participating in group events could be due to 100's bad PR, which in turn could bring down the rest of the group. Some speculation suggests that the way the lawsuit case has been handled by CBX's new company is actually reflecting badly on the members, and that Baekhyun's reaction is more than telling of the fact that he might not have realized just how much of their reputation is on the line. Some fans believe it's no surprise that the rest of EXO might have a hard time wanting to associate with Baekhyun or the rest of CBX, and it's not because of the lawsuit itself, but because of how the aftermath has been handled by 100. As one Reddit user suggested, 100 seems to always make the case extremely personal, and while it may be personal for the members involved, it's not something that should reflect on their careers or how they speak on the topic in order to keep up appearances of a united EXO. Another point that has been brought up is the fact that Baekhyun could have intentionally stirred the pot by making it clear that not only was he not invited, but he had no idea the anniversary live was happening. Seeing as Baekhyun is more than aware by now of how fans would take things and how they would react to them, some fans believe that he perhaps wished for SM to get backlash, no matter if the other EXO members get dragged into the situation. Now, with the group's long-awaited comeback finally taking shape in 2026, as the first teasers have already dropped, fans feel both excitement and worry on the group's behalf. On one hand, EXO's return is something that many have dreamed about for years. On the other hand, the lineup for the comeback and fan meeting noticeably excludes CBX, a choice that has only intensified the feeling that the group is still caught in unresolved tension. SM seems to insist that broken trust must be repaired before anything else, while CBX's agency insists that they want to participate but need the lawsuit to reach a clear conclusion. Meanwhile, fans and the members seem to be stuck in the middle as they are expected to simply move on at the moment. Many fans have also expressed their disappointment with the fact that Lay has finally returned to the group and will be joining the comeback, as even though this happy news is being overshadowed by the fact that the other members don't even seem capable of sharing a screen with the CBX members, making the group feel incomplete once again. In fact, some are even worried that the comeback might not even feel like EXO at all, especially as CBX consists of some of EXO's most important vocalists who have sung some of the most iconic parts in their songs throughout EXO's career. Legally, it also seems like the group divisions are at a stalemate, which is only making things more difficult, especially as fans pointed out that CBX members are even listed as inactive on the group's Naver page. However, even with all of the division, fans also can't blame the other members who are choosing to let EXO continue being a group and releasing music together, even if it's without some of their core members. As one fan said, "It's fair for CBX to try and break free, but I don't think the others need to put everything on hold for who knows how much time." And it looks like many fans are even considering the comeback a subunit release in order to get past the fact that CBX will not be joining under the EXO name, along with the radio silence between members.